I still remember the first thing she said to me. Not my name, not a greeting, not even an insult that required creativity. She laughed. A sharp, melodic sound that echoed across the docking bay of Hubris Station, drawing the attention of half a dozen species who already thought humans were a cosmic joke. Her eyes, 4 of them, arranged in a crescent pattern on her pale violet face, narrowed as she looked me up and down. So that is a human, she said, her translator implant carrying her words clearly into my ears. I was expecting something taller, or stronger, or anything impressive at all. A few of her companions snickered. Long-limbed, elegant aliens clad in the silver and indigo uniforms of the Varelian Ascendancy. Warriors, scholars, diplomats, take your pick. The Ascendancy had dominated 3 spiral arms without ever losing a war. Their confidence wasn't arrogance. It was experience. I adjusted the strap of my battered duffel bag and resisted the urge to respond. Earth had joined the Galactic Compact barely 2 years earlier, and Hubris Station was our first major trade outpost. My assignment was simple on paper. Logistics liaison, human representative to the Ascendancy's Military Research Division. In practice, it meant being the smallest fish in an ocean full of apex predators. The alien girl stepped closer. She was tall, nearly 7 feet, and moved with the effortless grace of something that had never known weakness. Her name, according to the briefing, was Valith Sora, a junior tactician prodigy. Barely 20 cycles old and already decorated for her role in suppressing the Thraxian rebellion. She circled me slowly, her boots clicking against the polished metal floor. Tell me, human, she said, tilting her head. Do all of your kind look like they might snap in half during a mild gravity fluctuation? That earned a few more laughs. I met her gaze calmly. Only the ones smart enough to avoid unnecessary injuries. Her eyes widened slightly. Surprise, not offense. She hadn't expected me to talk back.
She scoffed.
Clever words won't change biology. Your species evolved on a soft world. Low gravity. No major predators worth mentioning. You fight among yourselves and call it war. Her tone shifted, becoming almost pitying. Out here, you will be broken. Then she turned and walked away, her entourage following. I exhaled slowly. Welcome to the galaxy, Sergeant Daniel Reyes, I thought. The mocking didn't stop there. Over the following weeks, Valith made it a habit to comment whenever our paths crossed. In the mess hall during briefings, even in passing corridors. Humans were slow. Humans were fragile. Humans were lucky the compact protected them. She wasn't cruel for cruelty's sake. To her, it was simply truth. The Ascendancy valued strength above all else, and by every visible metric, humans ranked low. What she didn't see were the details hidden behind our average frames and unassuming posture. She didn't see the bone density adapted to 1 full Earth gravity, the cardiovascular efficiency, the neural plasticity honed by constant environmental stress, the persistence that came from surviving on a planet that never stopped trying to kill us in subtle ways. And she certainly didn't know our history. The turning point came during War Game Theta 9. Theta 9 was a joint exercise designed to simulate a large-scale invasion by a hypothetical extragalactic force. The Ascendancy had invited several compact species to participate, mostly as observers. Humans, to everyone's surprise, were allowed to field a small command unit. Valith was placed in overall tactical command. I was assigned as a human advisory asset. In other words, a mascot. She made that clear during the first strategy meeting. I will handle all major decisions, she said, her fingers dancing across a holographic star map. Human Reyes, you may offer suggestions, if time allows. I studied the projection. Enemy fleets were advancing, through 3 choke points. Valeth planned to concentrate forces at the largest one, overwhelming the invaders with superior firepower. It was elegant, logical, predictable, and fatally flawed. "They'll faint there," I said quietly. "Your doctrine assumes they want a decisive engagement. But if they understand ascendancy tactics, they'll exploit your rigidity." Valeth didn't even look at me. Speculation. We have analyzed thousands of combat doctrines. Statistical certainty favors my approach. Statistics don't account for desperation, I replied, or adaptability. That earned me a sharp glance. "You presume much, human." "I presume survival," I said. She dismissed me with a wave of her hand. Theta 9 began an hour later. At first, everything went according to Valeth's plan. The simulated enemy fleet surged toward the main choke point, exactly as predicted. Ascendancy forces crushed them in a spectacular display of coordinated fire. Valeth smiled. Then the sensors lit up. Multiple enemy task groups emerged from subspace, not at the choke points, but inside the defensive perimeter. They had sacrificed their main fleet to mask a high-risk infiltration maneuver. Within minutes, key command nodes were destroyed. Communications collapsed. Supply lines vanished. The exercise should have ended there. Instead, Valeth froze. Her flawless doctrine had no answer for chaos. "Rear out forces," she snapped, but her voice lacked confidence. "Counterattack. Restore formation." The enemy didn't give her time. That's when I stepped forward. "Permission to assume tactical control of residual units," I said. She stared at me as if I'd suggested sacrificing the station. "This is not your place. If we do nothing, we lose everything," I said calmly. "Mock me later. Let me fight now." The simulation clock was ticking. Pride warred with logic behind her eyes. Finally, she hissed, "Do it." I moved fast. I abandoned centralized control entirely, breaking our remaining forces into autonomous cells. I ordered asymmetric strikes, bait-and-trap maneuvers, and deliberate sacrifices to lure enemy units into overlapping kill zones. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't elegant. But it worked. Within 40 simulated minutes, the invading force was neutralized. Not destroyed, contained. Pinned into positions where they could no longer achieve objectives. The simulation ended. Silence filled the command chamber. Valeth looked at the final projection, her crest dimming in shock. "That violates every ascendancy principle." "Human warfare often does," I said. She turned to face me fully. No mockery this time. No laughter. Only something like unease. From that day on, Valeth stopped mocking me. She started watching me. We trained together. Sparring, simulations, endurance trials. She was still stronger, faster, more resilient in short bursts. But humans didn't fight for bursts. We fought for the long haul. During a joint survival exercise on a high-gravity planetoid, Valeth collapsed on the 4th day. Muscle fatigue, neural overload. Her species wasn't built for sustained strain. I carried her the last 2 kilometers to the extraction point. When she woke up in the med bay, she stared at me in silence. "You could have left me," she said quietly. "Humans don't abandon allies," I replied. Her eyes searched my face, as if seeing me for the first time. The real test came months later. Not as simulation. The Car Expanse incident began with a distress signal from a mining colony. Unknown hostiles. Communications lost. Ascendancy patrols sent to investigate vanished. The compact panicked. Valeth was promoted to full tactician and given command of a rapid response fleet. To everyone's surprise, she requested me as her second-in-command. Some questioned her decision. She ignored them. The enemy turned out to be something ancient, adaptive. learning from every engagement. Ascendancy ships were outmatched. During the third battle, Velith's flagship was boarded. Emergency bulkheads failed. Alien warriors fell in droves. We were trapped in a corridor, enemies closing in. Velith drew her blade, her hands trembling. "I misjudged them," she said. "I misjudged everything." I checked my rifle's power cell. "Then let's adapt." The enemy charged. What followed wasn't pretty. It wasn't honorable by Ascendancy standards. We used fire suppression foam to blind them, emergency gravity reversals to shatter their formations, and manual overrides to vent entire sections of the ship. Human ingenuity. Human ruthlessness. Human refusal to die quietly. We held the corridor until reinforcements arrived. The car threat was eventually neutralized through strategies Velith herself approved, strategies rooted in human unpredictability. After the war, the Galactic Compact rewrote several tactical doctrines. They called them Reyes variants. Months later, I found Velith standing alone in the docking bay where we first met. She turned as I approached. "I owe you an apology," she said, "for mocking you, for underestimating your kind." I smiled faintly. "You weren't wrong about one thing." "What is that?" "We're not impressive at first glance." She studied me, then inclined her head in a formal ascendancy gesture of respect. "Your species frightens me now." "Good," I said. "That means you understand us." As she walked away, I thought back to her first words on Kepri Station. "Out here, you will be broken." She had been wrong. Humans didn't break. We adapted. And in a galaxy that valued perfection, it was our flaws that haunted them most. Years later, historians of the Galactic Compact would mark the car expanse incident as the moment humanity stopped being tolerated and started being respected. Velith rose quickly after that war. She became one of the youngest grand tacticians the Ascendancy had ever named, and her strategies were considered controversial at first. They relied on decentralization, controlled chaos, and something the Ascendancy had once dismissed as inefficient: trust in individual judgment. When asked where those ideas came from, she always gave the same answer. "From humans," she would say. "From a species that should have broken, but never did." As for me, I eventually left Kepri Station. Humans had new outposts to build, new borders to test, and new allies who no longer laughed when we entered the room. Wherever I went, I noticed something different in alien eyes. Not contempt, not pity, caution, respect, sometimes fear. And every so often, I would receive a message from Velith, brief, precise, and oddly warm by Ascendancy standards. Updates. Questions. Occasionally, a single line of text. "Your methods worked again." I would smile when I read those, because the galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. You could mock humans. You could underestimate us. You could call us weak, fragile, insignificant. But if you did, our answer would come later, when it mattered most. And by then, your words would already be haunting you. You've hit the FRE.